Life is going to continue to present you with the people and the situations and the difficulties and the challenges to reveal to you where you're still yet not free. And until you learn the lesson, because life is all about building character, and that is the lesson that we're learning. And so we can start living our present day, not out of the past, but our present day will be lived out of our future vision that we have for ourselves. And our past will now be dictated by our present, because we can look back and we can say, wow, that really built my character. That lesson was amazing. I am now even freer in that area. And when I think of character, I think of what it really comes down to is how you show up when nobody's watching, is how you show up during the difficult times, how you show up with the people that are closest to you, that love you the most. It's how you're showing up as an individual and the positive strengths. And sometimes we could look at them as negative traits that we have. So it's building our character and understanding the beliefs that are underneath those character traits, and then understanding what skill set we need in order to amplify or replace those character traits. So the steps in building our character is the self-awareness around our character strengths, our character traits, discerning what we learn. Like, really think about it. What's built your character the most? What traits are really not strengths, and what do you want to really adopt or amplify in your life? And then start testing things out and collecting evidence. I highly encourage you through our 6 weeks together to keep a journal. Write down your wins, write down what's going on, start collecting evidence around your character and building your character, because I will tell you what, life is going to test you. And during our time together, you're going to be tested. That's just how it is. Life is going to continue to present you with the people and the situations and the difficulties and the challenges to reveal to you where you're still yet not free. And until you learn the lesson, because life is all about building character, and that is the lesson that we're learning. And so we can start living our present day, not out of the past, but our present day will be lived out of our future vision that we have for ourselves. And our past will now be dictated by our present, because we can look back and we can say, wow, that really built my character. That lesson was amazing. I am now even freer in that area of my life. Then you just check in with yourself. Am I showing up? Like, what is the character trait that I'm exemplifying right now? What's the belief underneath it? Is this something that I want to hold, challenge, or change? And maybe it's an amazing character trait. Maybe it's one of the character traits that's your strength that was on your assessment. And guess what? You can celebrate in that moment. For the ones that you would like to replace, let's also dig into what that belief is underneath, and then what the skill is that you want to build in order to be able to replace it. Because it's one thing to say, I want to change this belief, but it's another thing to actually do the work. New level of your life, you need a new level of personal energy and personal power for each new season. But most of us are still forcing our way through, just using our old energy and our old power, and versus accepting we need to change and grow in this energy as well. So what kinds of things have shifted in your life that deplete your energy and thus still your power? Can you tell me when you went from being super faithful to being fearful? Or was it just a silent shift of your power over time? Can you tell me when you went from believing you had a place and a purpose in the world to feeling like you were lost and stuck and confused and there wasn't a lot of clarity? Or was it just a silent shift? Can you tell me when the person that you're laying next to, that was the love of your life, now just feels like your roommate? Or was there a silent shift? Or the career that you're so passionate about and excited to wake up to go to every day, can you tell me when it now feels like a chore? Or was there just a silent shift? Because everybody thinks that it's these big moments in life that create these circumstances that we might be in now, but I would really venture to say that it's this culmination of silent shifts where we allow our energy and power to be taken, and then we get to a point where we don't even know how we got to where we're at. So what silent shifts have happened in your life that then on a daily basis depletes your energy, steals your personal power? And what do you want to start taking back? Because really, when your personal energy is strong and you're healthy, your life can improve dramatically and you can step into a whole new level of personal power. You have energy to spare. Your relationships can become fun and meaningful again. Your love flows. Your mind is clear. Your leadership is dynamic. Your sense of self expands and it's like bubbling up, and you're just a light in the room that you walk into. You have so much charisma and your life is exciting and fulfilling. Often that leaders become so accustomed to being in a stressful environment that we actually get addicted to the feeling of chaos. We get addicted to always doing, always fixing, always controlling, to the point where chaos almost feels normal, that when we feel calm, it feels strange. I remember I had a coaching client a number of years ago, and in the afternoon, we were having her collect evidence around taking breaks and doing some transition rituals because she really wanted to show up as her highest and best for her family. And she felt like she was giving everything into her business, her multi-location dance company that she owned. And she came back the following week after practicing this, and the evidence that she collected is she determined that she was just so tired, that something must have been wrong with her health, because she was so tired in the afternoon when she was doing these transition rituals. She just couldn't believe it. And isn't it interesting that she was eating good and she was exercising? She even had a morning routine. But I posed to her that what if it's just your body, your nervous system, your brain, and your just normal subconscious and reactions is so accustomed to chaos feeling normal, always going, going, going and doing, that it feels strange to feel calm. And so when you feel calm, you're looking for a reason, you're looking for a problem. Because when you're in this level of chaos all the time, is you're always looking for the next problem or the next fire to put out. And when there's not one, it's almost like you create one, becoming unreasonably present. And I'll share with you what that means. Ensuring that we have psychological detachment from doing. So it's not just work, because as leaders, what we'll do is we'll work and then we'll come home, but we're so addicted to doing that we just keep doing. And we never actually have that psychological detachment from doing. The idea of not only being resilient, but being anti-fragile. And resilient is like sort of what we were talking about last week, is this ability to endure. But do we want to only endure our life, or do we want to see our life as an opportunity to experience things and build our character and then take action and become anti-fragile no matter our external environments? It is basic, it's simple, but what happens most of the time is we just like let life get to, and I dislike this word, but busy. Everything is so full and we're saying yes to everything and everyone, and so consumed by it all that we don't actually sit down and design what we truly want. You know, the two things that keep us from growth most of the time once we've reached this level of success is, you know, our current level of success is keeping us from our next level of success. But it's that idea of like, I already know this information, but knowing information is just one thing. It's actually putting it into action in your life is really where you want to be. And then the second thing is counting yourself out. Well, I have so much on my plate, I can't do what she's saying right now, or this is not for me. So I like to think of a flow state as When a person is really fully immersed in and completely focused on one particular task or activity. Now, when you're in this state, you really experience a deep sense of fulfillment. I would even go as far to say enjoyment, often losing track of time, and you just feel really a heightened sense of aliveness and concentration and creativity. It's actually an optimal state for performance, personal growth, and your mental and physical health too. Now, the two biggest keys to flow state are clarity. So, being really clear personally and professionally, having a well defined vision and goals or purpose, and knowing your next right step. You don't have to know every single step to get to the big vision, but you have to know what you're working on for that day, for that week, for that month, for that set of time. And when you're clear and have that direction and purpose, it really helps you show up with what I said, that sense of aliveness. You don't really have to overthink decisions because your decision making is easier. It makes it clearer because you're clear. You can use your resources easier and overcome any obstacles because you just come back and focus on the path that you know that you're on. So, clarity is the first step, and most of us are just not clear on what we want. Heard me say this time and time again. So, we're saying yes to everything and everyone. Once we're able to do that, then we want to work on our deep work muscle, our focus muscle, which is the ability to concentrate your effort toward a specific task or activity or goal without being distracted. It requires a ruthless, almost even unreasonable amount of focus. And if you want to have high quality work, the formula for that is really time spent times your intensity of focus produces high quality work. It's going to kick in, and what the ego cannot destroy, it's always going to try to distract. So, the average person, the average worker today, spends nearly 3 hours distracted from their primary tasks. This adds up to, okay, get this, adds up to 60 hours a month per person, which could equate to a whole month's worth of productivity lost every single year. Distractions and cause frequent shifts in our focus. It makes it impossible to access a flow state. And the average time to regain full focus after an interruption is 23 minutes and 15 seconds. So, how many times are you interrupted during the day? And if it takes over 20 minutes to get refocused, then how much deep work can you actually do during a day? And if you're not getting your deep work done, those things that really matter, the things that really move the needle, how much stress and overwhelm are you bringing into your life? So 80/20 is really also known as Pareto's principle. And it says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So 20% of your high impact activities. However, a lot of us are spending time not in our 20%. We're actually spending time in our 80%. And our 80% could be things like responding to emails, allowing for other coworker or employee distractions. Let's just call it like busy administrative work. What are the 20%? What are the activities that you really want to be doing that really make a difference in your home life and in your relationships? What are the 20% of activities that you really want to do that make a difference for your own sense of well being, for your own personal growth? And then finally, what are the 20% that you really want to make a difference in your professional life? Because I would venture to say that you are a little far away from only working in your 20%. Practicing deep work and focus over times builds your ability to do deep work. One thing is to focus on the wildly important, AKA your 20%. The number two thing is then take action on high impact activities every day.
just like I was talking about. So you get clear on what your 20% is, then you take action on it every day, and then you keep a compelling scorecard. Some sort of scorecard, somewhere where you could see, maybe you just put up a calendar and you write on it each and every day. You put a star, you write 20%, or whatever your thing is that you're working on, showing you a visual representation that's compelling to you that you've done it every single day. And then the fourth thing is create a cadence of accountability. And then recognize when you are trying to choose distraction and pull yourself back into the deep work, even when it's mundane, even when it's monotonous. It's like this idea of almost embracing the boring, because when we're able to do that, we're able to gradually build our attention span and our focus and our ability to do deep work. And so that over time, we'll be able to do this like no problem. Leadership is not about being the best. It's about making everyone better. So it's not fun if you're successful, if you're not taking and showing people and taking them with you. So transformational leaders are really characterized by their ability to have a compelling vision, to be able to bring about significant change from this vision, because they're fostering the sense of a shared mission between people, and it encourages so much innovation and creativity. And transformational leaders focus on really aligning that vision, that compelling vision with the goals. And it brings a sense of community, collaboration, collective purpose. And in turn, everyone really fosters this deep sense and this environment of trust and collaboration. Stand up, shine brightly, share a mission, share a compelling vision, and then instead of saying, look at me, you're telling everyone around you, oh, there you are.
Now, there's three characteristics of world-class communicators, and this all has to do with really authentically communicating. And those world-class communicators are flexible, curious, and open. Now imagine a world where there's less misunderstandings, assumptions, and hurt feelings, shorter, more productive meetings, healthier relationships at work and at home, higher trust in all of your relationships, reduced unnecessary work, opportunities to think, hear, and see your most complex challenges differently, and even invitations to be seen, heard, and share openly without judgment. Now, there's a simple 4-step framework to authentic communication. And when I say simple, I don't mean easy. It does take practice. And those 5 steps in this framework are self-awareness, transparency, presence, simplification, and feedback. Pretty much every single personal development framework starts with self-awareness, because when we understand our own thoughts, emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, we can better navigate interactions and respond more effectively. We can be able to enable us to adjust our approach if needed, and it helps us stay present in conversation, which foster an even more authentic and meaningful interaction and exchange. And this foundation of this framework is crucial for being able to build trust and rapport, and an essential component to effective communication at home and at work. And moving into the second step is being transparent, being vulnerable. You show authenticity and courage, and you encourage others to do the same. Being heart-centered means you're communicating with empathy and compassion, and prioritizing emotional honesty over superficial exchanges like, what do you do? How's the weather? And this approach of a new level of vulnerability and honesty and authenticity and courage, it deepens relationships and creates a safe space for open, genuine dialogue. And then presence. Presence is really the third step in the framework, and it means that you're fully engaged in a conversation. You're giving your undivided attention to the speaker, especially avoiding internal distractions. I mean, how many times are we planning what we're going to say, or our mind wanders to that next thing that we have to do? Being present means that you're intentional. Intention setting involves being clear about your purpose and the goals for the conversation, which enables you to stay focused and being an active listener, acknowledging the speaker, responding thoughtfully, and again, fostering a deeper and more meaningful connection, which leads us to the fourth step in the framework, which is simplifying. By communicating directly, but directly from a place of love, you would eliminate any ambiguity and ensure your message is understood. Reading the room and being able to balance warmth with your competence is a way to really project your own charisma, and it builds rapport and trust. In addition to having a clear vision of what you want to simply communicate, provides a strong foundation. And lastly, the fifth step and the most important is feedback. Seeking feedback from trusted advisors helps you understand how others perceive your communication and allows you to look for areas of improvement and growth. Because it's not always what our intention that comes through, it's how the person on the other end of our communication is impacted. And so regular check-ins to ensure dialogue and alignment are so, so important. And when you adopt this growth mindset, you get to view challenges or opportunities to learn and improve and grow. Even if something wasn't your intention, however that person received your messages and how they're feeling is true for them. And so consistent follow through and follow up really demonstrates your relatability and reliability in your commitment, which again reinforces trust and the overall effectiveness of your communication. The longest in-depth longitudinal study on human life ever done brought us one simple yet profound conclusion. And this study dated back to 1938. It was a Harvard study, and they were studying what made people live a long, happy, and healthy life. And that one conclusion was good relationships lead to health and happiness. Now, the trick and the key here is those relationships must be nurtured. And there's really four key elements in building meaningful relationships or building your relationship ecosystem. And the one thing that all of the elements start with is being the one. Being the one so you can build a dynamic, supportive, expansive, fun relationship ecosystem that's thriving. And the first key element is being the one for yourself, knowing who you are and always cleaning up your side of the street. The second is being the one for your close family and friends, which means being the kindest person in the room, but the strongest boundaries, not abandoning yourself to fit in, but showing up when it matters, and often showing up unexpectedly. The third is being the one for others. When you're out in public, be the one to say hi, hold the door, introduce yourself, listen and linger just a little bit longer, invite others to join you and get uncomfortable. Be the one to share, support, give, and acknowledge. Acknowledge specifically, not generally. Be the one to use your voice to share your vision, to listen and to lead and to bring others along, to be bold, to share your compelling vision. And then lastly is to be the one to nurture. Be the one without expectation. Being the one to let go, reflect, act, apologize, listen, show up. And show up even when no one's watching.